You're watching Drake Wing Gaming. Enjoy the video.
Hey guys and gals, Nary here from Drake Wing Gaming, and so if you know me on Twitter, the Gaming Dragon. Today I'm coming back at you another Let's Play episode of Temptations Ballad. So yeah, before we jump into it, just wanted to let y'all know we've got our Patreon up. It's as little as $5 to help jump in and support the channel, and y'all get permanent access to our community Discord server and access to our future upcoming Not Safe for Work videos that'll be posted on Patreon and on the Discord server. That's the only way I'll be able to access those, since I cannot upload them to YouTube. Anyway, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right back in, shall we? Alarm chain, you are up, and let's go. Alright. The street looks like a war zone. The noble flinched as another squad of medics rushed past him with fresh supplies. It appeared that the festival did not go as planned. The wounded folks in the tents don't look too injured, though. Well, I suppose I should be thankful for whatever this disaster is. Hopefully the ruckus has driven attention away from my unfortunate tournament results. Calder shuddered. Embarrassing himself in front of a crowd was one thing. If word gets back to Grandfather that he had failed so utterly... A sharp cock of a raven suddenly pierced the air. Calder felt his blood run cold. The messenger raven circled above him like a vulture eyeing fresh carrion. It flapped its wings harshly against the cold air before descending. Calder gulped as the raven landed before him and extended its leg, where a small note was attached. The bird stared at him expectantly. Calder wrung his hands for several moments before gingerly plucking the note from its leg. He unfolded the note and was greeted with Grandfather's cold, harsh handwriting. Word has reached me about your blunder at the Firefly Festival tournament. It seems you've made embarrassment of our family yet again. Return home immediately. You will be dealt with. Gaius O'Shaughnessy. All the warmth drained from Calder's face as he scanned through the letter. He couldn't go home and face Grandfather like this. Surely there was something he could... An idea flickered through his mind as he glanced at the messenger raven. Calder quickly rolled up the note and pointed a finger at the bird. Suggestion. The raven froze in a daze as he hastily retied the note onto its leg. Fly around the city in a confused manner, then return home late at night. Give Grandfather the impression that you failed to locate me and deliver the note. Understood? The raven nodded blankly before fluttering off into the sky. Calder let out an exhausted sigh. I suppose I shall avoid going home for the time being until Grandfather has cooled off a bit. Though it'll mean staying at an inn among the peasantry for several nights. The thought of it! The noble shuddered and held back a gag. Even if he had to demean himself, it was a fair price to avoid Grandfather's wrath. Now he just had to find a semi-tolerable inn around here. Surely he can just book a room in the most expensive one. Oh, that little shit took all his money. What? Before he could blink, the urchin was dashing down the street with a giddy laugh. Calder patted his empty pockets as panic slowly set in. My wallet! Get back here, you scum! Wait! Let's see, where should we investigate first? Assist the wounded. Artemy's face brightened as she caught sight of Maeve among the medics in the street. The noblewoman was moving from tent to tent with a small group of druids in tow. Their hands glowed with the unmistakable light of healing magic as they tended to the injured. Maeve's eyes were narrowed with intense concentration as she inspected the condition of the people who had fainted. Lady Osmia, do you require any assistance in healing? Oh, thank you, Gautier, but my druids and I have things under control at the moment. Also... Maeve paused. Didn't you get kicked out of the tents for zapping the wounded with electricity a while ago? Oh, that. I meant no harm. It's just that all my magic is suspected of lightning, so... Yes, I saw the people you zapped were instantly healed of their wounds. The healing magic of the Creator's Chosen is potent indeed. Though the lightning aspected nature of your magic, does it affect all of your spell casting? It sounds like the symptoms of an internal imbalance. You should get that checked out by a more experienced medic at some point. Until then, I'm afraid your healing abilities are less than practical. Artemy gulped and bowed her head deeply. My deepest apologies. Unfortunately, my healing instructor... Sir Theomore is out of town at the moment. I'll remove myself from the premises if you'd like. Maeve held out a patient hand. There is no need. In fact, would you mind accompanying me as I make the rounds? The mere presence of the Creator's Chosen will provide the people with a sense of safety and security. Maeve squinted. Just don't touch anything. Of course, as you command, my lady. Artemis swore she glimpsed the noblewoman's smile slightly under her veil. Before she could comment, Maeve quietly ducked out of the tent and made her way down the street. Artemy gulped before hastily following. Second, y'all. Water time. They spent the next hour going from tent to tent, aiding all the wounded. Thankfully, it seemed most people weren't injured and simply recovering from their fainting spell. Even so, Maeve inspected each and every one of them to ensure they were of good health. Artemy felt rather useless as she stood stiffly next to her as she worked, but the villagers seemed happy to see her with them. A thought struck Artemy as the two of them continued their rounds. It is surprising that most of the medics here are druids of the exterior. Were the festival staff unable to receive aid from the other mages? A frown flickered across Maeve's face for a brief moment. Is it so surprising? Most of the church's clerics were reluctant to work alongside my countrymen. Within the city, druidcraft is seen as a primitive magic that few take seriously. Wizardry is the mage class that commands the most respect around here. Oh. Well, surely there are plenty of wizards who are available to aid the wounded. Maeve let out a small laugh. Oh, my dear Gautier, wizards won't be much help in this situation, I'm afraid. They are the magic class who can learn the greatest diversity of spells, but they are utterly incapable of learning healing magic. Why can't they learn any healing spells? Obviously because wizards don't care about other people. Really? Is that true? Maeve let out a long sigh. That was a joke, Gautier. Relax. You needn't be so uptight. My apologies. I will do my utmost to loosen up in the future. That's not... Maeve frowned, but seemed to give up halfway before switching topics. I was originally a pure druid, but I was forced to take classes in wizardry because none of the other nobles would take me seriously. Ironic, given how little use they are in this situation. Oh, that's a shame. You have proved much more helpful than I have. All I've managed to do is stand around while you do all the work. The people here are surely grateful for your aid. Perhaps in time, public opinion of druidcraft will shift to a more favorable position. Maeve's eyes softened. That would be a day I long to see. She brushed her hair out of her eyes and stared back at the tents lining the streets. As much as I like to rag on wizardry, my studies were useful in analyzing the fainting phenomenon victims of today. The fainting phenomenon that affected the victims today. Artemy's ears perked up. Have you found any useful information? Yes, and the implications are rather strange. She paced down the street while deep in thought. The magic afflicting and fainting victims is extremely similar to the force that drained the life out of my countrymen during the locust famine. But unlike the famine, this magic has a tinge of necrotic and infernal energy. You'd think these traits would make the fainting phenomenon deadlier, but... Maeve frowned. Despite the addition of these malevolent elements, the power behind the fainting phenomenon appears to be purposefully non-lethal. The following facts are clear. Both phenomena are designed to drain the life out of its victims. However, the person behind the locust famine had the intent to kill, while the fainting phenomenon is careful to avoid lethal harm. Artemy scratched her chin thoughtfully. Well, obviously the cloaked mage is behind the fainting phenomenon, but it's hard to believe they intended to be non-lethal after they sent a demon to hunt down my friend. Perhaps they lost control of their demon somehow? She glanced at Maeve carefully. I know you were interested in the fainting phenomenon because you believe that the culprit is the same one behind the locust famine, but do you think it's possible that these culprits are two unrelated parties? Maeve let out a frustrated sigh. It's definitely possible. However, the methodology behind their magic is too similar to be unrelated. One second, y'all. It is water time. These incidents are connected somehow. I just know it. We will have to investigate further. Let's see, where should we investigate? Not first. Investigate the scene of the battle. Alright. Artemy frowned. The shrill sound of heated argument echoed harshly across the street. She certainly hoped none of the villagers were getting into trouble. Glancing around, Artemy caught sight of two familiar figures. Agatha and Wes stood over several collapsed crystal towers while shouting furiously at each other. As Artemy approached them, Agatha's bitter scowl immediately melted into a worried frown. She waved at her urgently, her face swimming with great concern. Oh, there you are. Is your friend okay? I heard that the Bonebreaker boy went through a rough beating. Artemy bowed politely with a reassuring smile. Cole seemed well enough after my treatments. His injuries have fully healed and with no lasting harm. All he needs now is rest. Advice that he immediately ignored and then ran off. The knight grumbled. I suppose he's probably fine if he's still capable of ignoring every plea. Agatha relaxed slightly, though her face was still tense with concern. This was all my fault. Had I secured my crystal towers more carefully, we could have helped your friend before the battle reached such a violent end. I told you these things are hunks of junk. Do away with them, I say. Nothing beats the good old city watch patrolling the streets. Agatha scowled. I doubt your city watch fellows would fare well against a demon. They'd no doubt get knocked unconscious like the rest of the passers-by on the street. Wes crossed his arms stubbornly. Well, you can't know for sure. Calder managed to stay conscious at first, didn't he? Calder is clearly made from sturdier stuff than the average peasant. Agatha let out a tired sigh and turned towards Artemy. Apologies, Chosen One. I doubt you were here to listen to our bickering. If there's anything I can do to assist you, you need only ask. You needn't be so hard on yourself. As a knight, I should have been there to protect my friend. I can't seem to stop letting people down. Artemy gnawed on the thumb of her glove with a bitter scowl. I would like to ask for your expertise as an enchanter and scientist. Is there anything you found that could help me track down this demon or her accomplice? Or better yet, are there any suspects you have in mind? The old bat fiddled with her spectacles as she scanned the destroyed street. Well, for starters, the demon somehow managed to hijack all of my crystal towers with infernal magic. Every single one. None of my defensive spells were set off during the battle. In fact, the demon used my own damn crystals to cast her life-draining spell that caused everyone to pass out. Agatha growled in frustration. If I had only been more careful, nobody would have been hurt today. Be kinder to yourself, Lady Agatha. The blame rests on my shoulders. The Creator's chosen should be the defender of the people. The old bat smiled slightly, though heavy guilt still weighed across her face. You should learn to take your own advice, young knight. But thank you. I'm still surprised that this demon managed to hijack all of my crystals, though. Hey! I remember some kid went around peeling on all of them before the tournament started. Maybe that mucked up your crystal doohickey somehow. My magic was stopped by powerful infernal forces, not a trickle of urine. Good gods, what is it like inside that feeble little mind of yours? Hey now, I was just trying to help. You can help by carrying all these crystal towers back to the warehouse for testing. What? All of them? I just carried them all out here this morning. If you could carry them out, you can carry them back. Come on, we can't leave a bunch of demon-hijacked crystals lying around. Wes groaned before reluctantly rolling up his sleeves. Not an ounce of respect around here for the lot of you. From the lot of you. As the city watch sheriff struggled to lift a crystal, he glanced toward Artemy sheepishly. Second, y'all. It is water time. Say, lass, I was just wondering. You sure Calder is doing all right? There's a lot of blood on the street. His wounds were severe, but my healing magic made short work of them. Cole should be fine with some rest. Artemy smiled. Why ever do you ask? Are you worried? But me? Worried about that damn bone-breaker boy? In your dreams, lass. Wes spluttered furiously before scrambling down the street in a huff. And off he goes again. Well, now that we're alone... Agatha scanned their surroundings briefly. After ensuring there were no prying ears, the old bat leaned towards Artemy urgently. Is something the matter? The enchanter's voice was in a low, discreet whisper. Listen carefully, Chosen One. You asked her earlier for suspects behind the identity of the demon's host. This is just between you and me, but, in my honest opinion, the royal family is definitely behind it in some way. Specifically Roderick. Artemy was taken aback. The king? But he's dead! The old bat nodded impatiently. Yes, and thank the heavens for that. And think about it. Roderick spent the past decades studying life itself. The man spent incredible resources into experimenting a way to magically extend Queen Tabitha's feeble lifespan. As a personal researcher to the royal family, let me tell you, some of those experiments were... concerning. Artemy's mind was reeling. Are you saying that there was ill intent behind the royal family? Why didn't you come forward with this information sooner? Agatha laughed bitterly. Oh, my dear Chosen One. Do you really think a man like King Roderick wouldn't have ways of maintaining his secrets? Even now, there's much I cannot tell you. My mouth is sewn shut in a manner of speaking. But here's what I can tell you. The enchanter's voice dipped low. The following are publicly known facts. King Roderick spent the past decade studying life magic to preserve the life of the Queen. Then the Locust Famine occurred, where thousands of people had the life drained out of them. Afterwards, the Queen's health miraculously took a turn for the better, but then continued to deteriorate over the years. Agatha adjusted her glasses with an urgent frown. Fast forward to present times, and the King suddenly has a son out of the blue, despite the fact that he and the Queen are an infamously barren couple. Soon afterwards, he and the Queen pass away within days of each other. And then a week later, demons show up in the city and start sucking the life out of people in the streets. Make of this information what you will. Artemy took a step back, suddenly feeling overwhelmed. This theory of yours is a lot to take in. But you must consider it. It is your duty as the Creator's chosen to protect the people of this world, after all. Artemy felt her chest lurch uncomfortably. True, it was her duty to protect and serve. It was also her duty as a knight of Axie to protect the royal family, was it not? This was a heavy accusation to process. But, Lady Agatha, you worked with King Roderick as the royal family's personal researcher. One second, y'all. I'm going to go ahead and pause it right there. Thank y'all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring that notification bell, leave a super thanks or tip if you can. It always helps. Until the next video, I love you all. I'll see y'all next time. Don't forget to check out that Patreon, y'all. Bye-bye.